Let us learn about number of atoms in a unit cell. We know every crystal lattice is made of infinite number of unit cells, and every lattice site is occupied by constant particle that may be an atom or ion or molecule. Now let us examine what portion of each particle belongs to a particular unit cell. Let us calculate the number of atoms present in a simple cubic unit cell. In the last topic, we learned that a simple cubic unit cell contains 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube, and this can be visualized in the figure 1 using open structure of simple cubic unit cell. In the open structure, distance between the atoms are greatly exaggerated. In reality, in solid state, atoms are packed much more closely to one another as shown in the space filling model, that is figure 2. Here, the space filling model shows that the atoms touches along the edges of the cell. By considering the portions of the cell inside the cell boundary, we can generate a unit cell of a simple cubic lattice, that is figure 3. From figure 4, we can see each atom at a corner is shared between 8 adjacent unit cells, 4 unit cells in the same layer and 4 unit cells of the upper or lower layer. Therefore, only 1 by 8 of an atom belongs to a particular unit cell. And from figure 5, it is evident that each atom at the corner contribute 1 by 8 of its original volume to the each unit cell. There are 8 atoms at the corners. Thus, the number of atoms in a simple cubic unit cell is equal to 8 corner atoms into 1 by 8 of an atom per unit cell. So it will be equal to 1. So you need to remember number of atoms in a simple cubic unit cell is equal to 1 atom. Let us calculate the number of atoms present in a body-centered cubic unit cell. A body-centered unit cell contains 8 corner atoms and 1 atom at its body center as shown in the figure 1. In the open structure, distance between the atoms are greatly exaggerated. In reality, in solid state, atoms are packed much more closely to one another as shown in the space filling model, that is figure 2 here. The space filling model shows that the atoms touches the edges of the cell. By considering the portion of the cell inside the cell boundary, we can generate a unit cell of a body-centered cubic lattice. A unit cell of the body-centered cubic unit cell is shown in figure 3. In body-centered cubic unit cell, we know that each corner atom contributes 1 by 8 of its actual volume to each unit cell. There are 8 corner atoms at the 8 corners. Thus, contribution made by the corner atoms to the unit cell will be equal to 8 corner atoms into 1 by 8 of its actual volume to each unit cell, which will come to 1 atom. And we also know atom at the body center wholly belongs to the unit cell in which it is present. Thus, 1 body center atom will be present. Therefore, total number of atoms in the body centered cubic unit cell will be equal to 2 atoms. Now, let us calculate the number of atoms in face-centered unit cell. A face-centered cubic unit cell contains 8 corner atoms at the 8 corners of the unit cell and also contains 6 more atoms at the 6 faces of the unit cell. This is shown in figure 1, that is open structure of face-centered cubic unit cell. A unit cell of the face-centered cubic unit cell is shown in figure 2. It is clear that the atoms at the corners contribute 1 by 8 of its actual volume, that can be seen in figure 3. In addition, there are 6 atoms at the 6 faces. Each atom at the face center is shared between 2 adjacent unit cells, and only half of each atom belongs to a unit cell. Thus, a face center atom contributes half of its original volume to one unit cell. Therefore, number of atoms present in a face-centered unit cell is equal to 8 corner atoms into 1 by 8 atom per unit cell, which will come to 1 atom, and then you have 6 face center atoms multiplied by 1 half of atom per unit cell. So it will come to 3 atoms. Thus, the total number of atoms present in a face centered cubic unit cell will be equal to 1 plus 3, which is equal to 4 atoms. This table summarizes the total number of atoms present in different types of cubic unit cell. In the examination point of view, in 1 mark question, they may ask number of atoms present in face-centered cubic unit cell, or body-centered cubic unit cell, or simple cubic unit cell. Check your understanding.